a single fucking one of them.
We're live.
No.
Yeah, we are.
Without the intro. What the heck?
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
With Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right, and we're recording and we're live. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast, your favorite podcast. You come to watch people talk, debate, and argue over shit they don't plan. Because why would we fucking plan anything?
Never.
Because even when we do plan something, it never gets talked about.
I have a question.
I am there signs. With me as usual is Mike Mercadal.
Hey, hello.
And Steph Animator Sr.
Hi.
And Missy.
So eager to join the conversation.
I have a question about the intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that Dave Chappelle stays up some nights wondering how our podcast is doing?
I'm pretty sure he does. We talked about it often. So.
Follow up. Has he ever invited you to his house? Because I really want to hang out with him in that small town that he lives in. It sounds like pretty cool.
I would love to
cool
go to
spot.
I would love to go to his farm. I would feel intimidated only because, like, how do you tell Dave Chappelle, both icon and comedic hero, yeah, I don't smoke, bro. I don't smoke.
I mean,
he makes the exception
But
that
she
day.
does. That's how you do it. I don't smoke, but she does.
Who's that? Your
So
wife?
enjoy.
That's just my friend.
And so does she.
I mean, it's really nice of him to come in every episode and do that live
Right.
for us.
That's
I mean,
really
it's very
sweet of him.
sweet that he does that.
He's a friend to all.
He's a friend of the show. You know, even though he sounds completely exasperated and belabored when he read.
I don't get that. I feel like he's like just chilling. I picture him in a dark room smoking a cigarette.
I mean, in all fairness, yeah.
doing
I just
Mary
picture
a
him in the
solid.
green room. I just picture him in the green room, just be like, "Oh yeah, I speak into the phone." Okay.
That's exactly what happened.
You did
I
it?
don't know that story. Can you tell that story? Can you share that story?
Sure. I was touring with him, and it was the last night that I was going to tour with him. And it took me 5 days of hanging out with him to get the balls to be like, hey, can you do this?
Did you ask like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
I
Nice
want to be
nice
like,
strategy.
oh, I'm totally joking, but
You did the Chris Farley thing.
See,
You remember?
social anxiety is a thing.
no, it's just punk assness. It's just punk assness.
Support your friends, bitch.
I got to have like I was chilling with another comedian, and we were at the restaurant above the Comedy Cellar because just hanging out. We were waiting to go somewhere else, and then Dave Chappelle's there, and he comes in, and he knows the other comedian I was with. And they start talking. He goes to get like shawarma from next door, and they have this hot sauce that's like it's impossible to eat. The sauce, like it's just the hottest fucking sauce in the world. And he puts a ton of it on there, and I'm like, and I was like one of the only people. I was like, Dave, Mr. Chappelle, like I felt like telling him, I was like, that's a bad idea. Like I was like trying to warn him of danger, but he was so famous, and so like, you know what I mean? Like it was hard to like. I was
No,
it's
I
like,
get what you're saying, but did you say something?
I was like, oh man, that's gonna be really hot. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I like it hot. I'm like, but I don't think you understand, Dave Chappelle. I don't think you know, Dave. And he was dying. He was like, holy shit. And I got him some like pita or whatever. I'm like, here, you need to like soak it up with this or something. And he's like, shit. He was,
So
like,
you
so
saved
mad.
his life.
No, I would let him walk into the trap because he was too famous for me to say anything until he took the first bite.
Yeah, but then you saved his life.
You know.
Yeah, he so I just I was like, hey, real quick, I I won't bother you, but can you just say, for my intro for my podcast? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then I was like,
That'll be $1,000.
he's like the nicest dude ever. So he's
He's
super
like, I didn't
get
think I
that.
would get this far, so I had no
nice.
follow-up plan.
I had same thing happened when we went to SuperCon and we saw the guy that does the Batman voice for the animated show.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. And so I was like, I didn't know how to, because I didn't want to. To me, it's not even a starstruck thing. It's like I don't want to bother you thing. It wasn't like, oh, starstruck. It was like, this is fucking awkward, right? How do I?
What's the silliest thing you've said to someone in the middle of a starstruck moment?
I haven't been like when I get starstruck, I'll just stay quiet,
Yeah.
and that's only happened like twice.
That's like a Tuesday in a regular social situation.
I wish I
I once got so
guys,
nervous when I was
love-
talking to Raven Simone at I was 13 years old and I met her, that all I could say to her was, I like your jeans.
Oh, that's precious.
That's really good. That's what but that's a good 13-year-old meeting a celebrity trying to figure out how do I can't say how, but I met Sting. I met Sting.
The wrestler or the singer?
The singer.
Oh,
both
And yeah.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Well, they're the
I
same
would-
guy. You didn't know that? Sting, the singer,
No.
is Sting, the wrestler.
Thing v
guaranteed
Sting.
100%.
Yeah.
Missy had the opposite reaction that I would have had.
So-
she was like, "Oh, to the singer," and I would have been
Yeah,
like, to the wrestler.
I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'm not gonna talk to you, Sting. But the one that I would actually want to talk to is the wrestler. But that's my
Sting is arguably one of the most famous people on the earth. Like the singer Sting is like
Oh, the singer again. I was confused. Which one?
you put any motherfucking buff white guy in the fucking crow makeup, and that's it. He's Sting.
No, his facial features.
Are hidden by makeup.
No.
He
Contours like a motherfucker.
I ended up standing in the room with him, and I was like with Sting, the singer, and then so there was a process where he was getting some juice from some natural juice place. He has an assistant who was bringing him stuff, so we were just kind of standing there, and I was like,
Did you also not warn him about something?
I was like, no, I mean, I had a reason to be there, is what it was. I kind of was supposed to be there, and he goes,
were you his bodyguard?
and he was just drinking, and then I was just kind of standing there. I can't say how, and he was just drinking the juice. I'm like, good juice. You like what kind of juice is that? And he just kind of looked over and he's like, yeah, it's great. And I was just like, oh right, what the fuck did I just say? I basically did the equivalent. I basically did the equivalent. Remember in Dumb and Dumber when he comes out and he's like, hey, big gulps, huh? All right. And he just keeps walking. That's basically what I did to Sting. I was just like, it's reasonable for you to never speak to me again. Okay.
I earned that.
It's funny that we're talking about this today out of all days, because literally like 4 hours ago, I just signed my first ever NDA.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's crazy story that I would have to
talk about.
I can't talk. I legitimately can't talk about. It happened from one moment to the next. I got a call and they were like, "Can you be at this place in an hour?" And I was like, "How far is that place? Let's look up my GPS. 52 minutes. Yes, I could be there." Like I was like, "Yeah, I'll fucking go." And they're like, "Yeah, I accepted before I knew what was happening." And then they were like, "We don't know what's happening, but we got a contact from such and such person. Go." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And I went there, and then shit happened. I can't tell the rest of the story, but fuck out. This is the first time in a long time that I was like, oh, man, I wish it was fucking
Blink once if it was born.
Those NDAs are weird because did you just open your eyes even wider?
I don't want to get sued.
I don't want to get sued.
So
it was wild. I told Vanessa the story, and she was like, "Oh my god, I'm fangirling out for you," and I'm like,
I want to know. Excuse me.
It's great.
Yeah, no, there was. I've had weird people make me sign NDAs. I had like
my wife.
one.
I asked. And I read
okay, you asked if you
I
could
asked. Not only did I ask, but I specifically, it's specifically about posting and about making public knowledge. That like I read I actually read it.
Okay.
Like, I read the fucking. I didn't just.
You can't promote it.
I was gonna say
I
you're
can't
on a
promote
live
it.
stream.
I can't promote it, and they specifically and again they use the term of like specifically, but not limited to social media. And then the lady, the one in charge of like making sure I signed it, she was telling me, like, I made the joke. She was like, you can't post us anywhere. You can't, whatever. And I go, no, not even my wife knows. She thinks I'm cheating on her right now. So don't worry about it. You're good. And she started laughing, and she was like, no, you could tell your wife you're fine.
Okay, good, because I didn't want you to admit to violating an NDA on the first day on a live stream.
No. But I specifically
With
asked.
8 people watching, are you crazy?
This will live on. Like, they can come and find it.
She was very specifically.
Yeah.
She very specifically said, no, you should tell. She even said you should. She didn't say you could. She goes, you should probably tell your wife. Don't have her thinking that. That's not a good idea.
She's like, I know you're joking.
Marriage advice.
Yeah, I know you're joking, but in case you're not, tell your wife.
Like, I don't want this on my hands. I don't want to divorce on my hands.
The only NDAs I've had to sign were for the Marvel stuff that I did that's already out, like the Netflix, the Punisher and stuff.
You didn't sign an NDA for the Ninja Turtles thing?
Oh yeah, that too. I had to do that. I had to sign, like, also there's a certain amount of like expectation, like in the moment.
Oh, text. And I'm not texting her.
Do not.
No,
I'm not.
Do not pry, because if
she's under strict order again. Right?
If it's a legit NDA, like the bigger it is, like you could like don't even.
I'm going
anything
back
gets out, you'll get fucked over.
So.
I'm not saying you're not trustworthy. I'm just saying that accidents happen all the time. People fucking slip up all the time.
I know, that's how I was born.
Vanessa says, my starstruck moment, I was not allowed to tell Charlie Murphy that my cat was also named Charlie Murphy. Here's the reason why. Because her cat was named Charlie Murphy because he was so black that they called him Darkness. And that's why he was like, I want to tell him that my cat is named Charlie Murphy. I go, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Because she was like, why? I couldn't take, like, he was in front of us, and I was working with him that weekend in Palm Beach, and I didn't have the moment to be like, because he's gonna ask you follow-up questions. Like, why is he named Charlie Murphy? So yeah. That's not her worst.
It would be funny if he was just like, let me guess, the cat's black, Yeah,
she fangirled the fuck out when I introduced her to Lisa Lampanelli at the height of Lisa Lampanelli's fame.
Oh yeah,
I introduced her, and we went to her concert. Right, she gave us free tickets. Lisa did, and then we had great seats. And then I introduced her to Lisa, and she felt like literally. Like that, like she, this whole shit, giggling and squealing. She did all that shit, and I'm like, yeah,
that's adorable.
Yeah,
I've never.
We have some good ones.
Ricky says, my starstruck moment, I met Neri while wearing his muffin shirt, and he just ignored me.
Got called out.
Probably because you were wearing a muffin shirt and not a cupcake shirt. Ooh. So that's probably what it was, Rookie. I didn't. How would I ignore you? Like, that's crazy.
He sent us money.
Yeah.
Rookie's part of the show at this point.
Jeff says, the first celeb I ever met was Danny Trejo at a con, and I kept saying, yes, me Trejo, of course, my Trejo, ha ha ha,
Mr. Trejo,
so funny, Mr. Trejo, and he was super cool and laughed it off.
Probably because you were paying for his autograph.
Yeah, what's he gonna say? What a fucking schmuck! What's he gonna?
On the inside, but not before he takes his money.
Danny Trejo owns like taco places in LA, and like real, and like he actually goes to the taco. Like he's seen, like, first of all, I think when anybody gets famous later on in life, I think they're like, yeah.
That's why I'm glad it's gonna happen in my 40s.
Like cons are weird though. Like sometimes there's people at cons that suck, like. Or like that are full on like super divas and things.
Dave has a great story about I think I forget it was Jeff or Dave, but I know Dave has a story that he hates the guy who played Chewbacca because he was a complete and utter asshole to him.
Peter Mayhew? The original Chewbacca?
Yeah.
The original Chewbacca? Because there's two. There's a new guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right. And then I forget. I know that's Dave's story that he talks about meeting that guy and he was a complete and utter asshole to him. I made the joke that it's probably because he thought he was a fucking he was one of the Ewoks. So he's like, I don't know me. But Jeff, there you go. I was gonna say I didn't know if it was Jeff or Dave, but Jeff hates Alex Winter.
Who's Alex Winter?
Bill from Bill and Ted's. Why? What happened? Now I want to know.
So,
Get him on the phone.
Jeff, if you will allow me to kind of tell the story a little bit, it's basically he was just being a complete, like he was just being such a dick to everybody who came and signed, and he asked him, what's it? Yeah, Bill was a fuckhead, is what he said, and he asked him, like he was asking him to sign something, and he goes, "Hey, can I write? Can I take this picture and can I do this in this picture?" And he goes, "As long as you pay me, I don't give a fuck what you do." Like he was like very blunt and very that.
Here's a
I mean,
dollar.
I know
Go
it's the
fuck
truth.
yourself.
Like I know it's the truth, but you just don't have to say it like that.
Also, you're nothing, Alex Winter. You're the guy who's
You're not Keanu.
Reeves.
No,
Yeah,
he's actually a
you're
big time
literally the guy who's
director.
not
For
Keanu.
he's a documentary director now. Like he's got a bunch of movies. out.
Right.
Now,
That's like
not
the video
2 years
editing
ago when Jeff met
Oscar.
him.
What? Let's
Jeff,
not shit on these
that's the
people who have
story?
actual made like big time movies.
It costs me nothing to be a bitch, and I enjoy it.
Wow. All right. Act like a bitch, get treated
That's
like
the
one. Missy.
tagline
Here
of
we
the
go.
show. That's,
gonna get
that's if we make more merch. That's the line.
We gonna get antagonistic.
Well, the first merch we gotta make is the one that says "Rotate my PDF, old man."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first one.
That was a
That's
good one.
Mike talking to people who talk shit about millennials. He's like,
Yeah.
"Rotate the PDF, old man." I thought it was pretty fantastic. I thought that was a story. Jeff is saying that he's not. He signed. Oh, he signed Keanu's side of the bill and Ted picture.
But did he do he did
those
the money
grounds, though?
thing? He's like, I don't care what you pay me.
I think I'm confusing that story with the Dave story or some shit like that because they both had very similar. I hate this person at a con story.
Do you want
The
me to
only
call
person
Dave?
I've ever paid to get an autograph from is Dawson's dad. And he was
What's his name?
Oh, I don't know. It's Dawson. He has three names. He's the guy that played the original Flash on TV. But he's forever going to be Dawson.
He's Dawson's dad. He was actually. I mean, I didn't listen to the conversation. I just watched
John
the
Wesley
conversation,
Shipp.
and he seemed pretty cool.
He was phenomenally cool. And
that was the same con that Vanessa met the Little Mermaid singer, right?
No, that was the previous year.
Never
She
mind.
met Leah
that was
Salonga?
I miss
not-
cons, man. I miss it.
Yeah.
I want to go down for SuperCon one year because the New York Comic Con's like too big. I feel like SuperCon is the right size.
It's
You know what I
stupid.
mean?
I
Huh?
don't know. So I'm not big on paying money to meet celebrities, but what got me to do that for John Wesley Shipp is the fact that I went to the panel and he was so fucking friendly and so cool on the panel that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get Dawson's dad. And I asked him a question because I didn't want him to just sign a picture and just fucking move away. So I asked him a question that would engage him in conversation, and it fucking worked. It was fantastic.
What'd you ask?
I asked him, I said, hey, so growing up as a kid, 7, 8-year-old me saw you as the Flash, right? And then that lasted for like 2 or 3 years, whatever the season ran, whatever the show ran. I had the dates in my head, so it wasn't as clunky as this conversation going now. But I said, and then fast forward 4 years later, and I am again watching you. You're Dawson's dad, which made you my TV dad, right? So my question to you is, did you approach being the Flash the same way? Like, because now I go, and then fast forward after Dawson's Creek, you're back on the Flash, and you're Barry Allen's dad. So my question to you, so I've grown up with you. My question to you is, did you treat being Dawson's dad the same way you treated being Barry Allen's dad? And he went through this long. He's like,
That's
"Oh
a
man,
great question."
He said, "That's a great question. I wish you would have asked that in the panel." And I was like, "Oh, it was a long line," but in my head, I was like, "I just came up with it 5 minutes ago." So
this question's been on my mind for decades, John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah,
it's been on my mind. Please answer me.
He went through the process of an actor. He's like, "No, you got to treat them differently, and here's why: because each one of those kids was at a different point of their life. Where Dawson needed a firmer hand, and Barry Allen needed a kinder because the dramatic that he had gone through, the drama that he had, whatever the trauma that he had gone through, and it was really like we engaged in a like full on 6-7 minute conversation, and I was like, yeah, and then. The same year.
I thought you were going to go a different way with that story. I thought you were saying you were this guy's dad and that guy's dad. You're my TV dad. So my question is, are you proud of me?
Yeah.
Would have been a made for a funnier story.
Yeah. Can you just say, Neri, I'm proud of you into the
the microphone.
You just say you're listening to WuBro and I'm proud of my son Neri. Can you just say that? Please, God, John Wesley Shipp.
Well, the thing about the cons is you guys got it all wrong. I was able to get press passes for the con for New York Comic Con because I just applied for it. Yeah. And who knows, man? We have What's Up,
you
Bro.
make it seem as if we never applied for it. We applied to
we
do a
did
panel.
that.
We applied to do a panel on SuperCon, and we got turned down.
No, not a panel. You applied
No,
to
but
be
I'm giving
press.
you. We've applied for shit, and it doesn't always work
You
out.
apply and you lie about your numbers. That's all you got to do.
The last time we went to SuperCon was 2 years ago, and everybody that had shown like that was supposed to be there for signatures or meet and greets or whatever, they canceled like an hour before. It was dead. It was like not good. Maybe when it comes back, it'll be better, but it was a big bummer last time.
Jeff's clarifying the story. He said some guys in front of me asked if they could do the Wild Stallions pose with him for the photo op, which is like $40. And he said, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm just standing here and do what I want. That's what Alex Winters did.
There's a great show. It was like kickstarted. It was, but Alan Tudyk made it, and it's called Con Man, and it's about a guy who hates that he is that con guy. Like,
it's about Alex Winters. Okay.
Yeah. But it's about it's really solid. Like it's a pretty good show, and it was
we got a new comment here. Want to be famous? Buy followers.
We finally got a spam comment.
Woo woo woo!
Is that from the thing?
That's from Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Is it Twitch?
Yeah.
It is Twitch. Yeah.
That obviously was such a by the thing.
Wait, I didn't write down the URL.
How much is it to buy followers? Yolanda says, I had a dentist who, unbeknownst to me, was a dentist to the stars, who introduced me to Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, fuck. That's great. I had a flipping mouth dam and because of the root canal, and all I could do was go, for hello.
Yeah. I get no respect.
That's awful.
She's got like the gas on her nose, and she's like, Are you right? Are you Rodney Dangerfield? Oh my God.
For all she knows, he's just like an older dude, and she was just that high on gas.
Yeah. My name is Roger Seinfeld.
And the dentist was like, hey, so you just make sure you go home, take it easy, lay down and rest. Is that Rodney Dangerfield? Yeah. That's who it is. Yeah.
Sure.
Is Rodney Dangerfield in the room with us right now?
Absolutely amazing. Just says that his favorite con was meeting William Catt and him signing the theme song to The Greatest American Hero with him. And then he signed a picture saying, Jeff, get the fucking song out of my head. Love, William Catt.
You know what? Jeff has his office. I guess it's his office. He has like killer pictures from cons that he's been to. And it's just like a little museum of, oh, fuck, you met that guy too? Like
those are, I've never been one to pay for those autographs, but like there's a few people that I would pay to. Well, Kevin Conroy, like the year I got pressed for New York Comic Con was awesome because I did get to do the Batman the animated series 25th anniversary release, and I got to like interview these people, and like it was a totally different vibe. They were there to be interviewed, so you could just sit there and ask questions and shit like that. And he told a crazy story about he was roommates in Juilliard with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And he told this story. Like I asked him because someone in the comedy scene up here, Selena Kopic, she's like his niece, like they're family members, like some distant family. And I said, oh, I know her. And she told me this story that you were roommates with Robin Williams, and he had just passed away, like maybe 2 years before. And and then he was like, and he got real serious, and he was just like, oh my God, Robin was, and he talked about like all that shit. And we were all just kind of sitting there, and he's talked about this for the whole time, and the other guys couldn't ask any questions. And I was after he got up and walked away, I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like eat up everybody's question time. And everyone was like checking their recorders to make sure that they got it all. They were like, no, that was great. That was great. And they were like super like,
I was gonna ask him what it's like to voice Batman. Yeah, I had that question too. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Everybody had the same fucking questions.
Yeah, well,
you got a great story about him and Robin Williams, and you're apologizing. You're like, so we never.
I'm sorry, I got to the actual human man
the human. Yeah, and I asked him,
how does he feel about voicing Batman? What the fuck? We never found out.
and then someone was like, "Oh, don't worry, man. No one else is gonna get that story today. Like no one else is gonna get that today." And I was like, "All right, okay, I'm a journalist. Okay, all right. Look at me being
Me lying about my numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, journalists lie.
Everybody lies.
Okay.
All right, House, take it easy. So I was a few years ago at Comic-Con, there was a story that broke out that Sylvester Stallone was charging $500 for an autograph.
I'll pay you $1,000.
And so I remember hearing this story, and up to that point, when the story broke, I had never paid for an autograph. To this day, the only autograph that I paid for was for Ship, Dawson's dad. And so I remember the story breaks out, $500 for an autograph. And I was on the radio the next day, and so they're talking about the story, and they go, who would, like, that's crazy, whatever. I go, look, bro, do I think it's ludicrous that Sylvester Stallone is charging $500? Absolutely. Does he need the money? Absolutely fucking not. Do I think it's fucking disrespectful to his fans who fucking adore him to be charging that, to be fucking an extraordinary amount of money? Absolutely. Would I fucking pay it? I would be complaining as I'm going to the ATM. That's what I was as I'm fucking going to the ATM. I'd be like, can you believe this motherfucker? Beep, 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 beep. And like, I would just be that fucking guy and be like, yeah, 500, yeah, whatever. Whatever the fuck it takes. There's a few people on earth, literally, there's a few, I would say The Rock, Sylvester Stallone, and then the person I met today are the three people who I would be like, yeah, I'll fucking pay money for this. I'll pay fucking money for this shit.
I can't wait till we can hear about it. This is gonna be great.
Well,
I'm like going through my mental files of Neri.
Don't. You're gonna ask a question about it, and it's gonna be the denial will prove. You know what I mean? Like, so don't dig.
Steph would be like, Debbie from she did Dallas.
Steph is trying to like a Professor X into your brain right now.
Exactly.
I don't know. That was another one. We did that. That's what I paid for, and I forgot what we paid for. We went to the porn convention. That was my first con.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We was my first con, and I was so new at cons because I had never been to one that I didn't know that you have to pay for autographs. I was like, no, I thought you just pay for the entrance and then they fucking give you the autograph. I thought you just line up and they charge you for pictures?
That's how they make money. They make a ton of money that way.
Again, this is me being completely naive. And then they were like, no, that's how they make money, whatever. And I was like, all right, I guess that makes sense, but I'm not gonna fucking pay for anybody. And then the amount of beautiful women that come on, I'm like, yeah, I'll pay for that. I'll pay. I literally paid to take a picture with Tegan Presley, who at that point in time had zero fucking clue who Tegan Presley was. And this was back in the height of my porn phase, where I was like following actresses and following their stories, and like I would be like, that's who this is, that's who that is. And that was like,
this is early WuBro days.
Yeah, this was early WuBro days. I was only into porn that heavily for like 2 or 3 years. I'm sorry, where it was like, I know that actress, she dated this other guy, and because of that, they broke up, and she only did girls for a while. Like I was doing, I had that kind of information.
You knew the stories.
I knew the stories.
You knew the like drama.
And I still didn't know Tegan Presley, but she was so fucking stunning that I was like, how much? Yeah.
That was an interesting day.
I'll pay for that. And to this day, I follow her on Instagram, and I remember posting that picture on Instagram, the picture of her meeting each other, and she liked it, and I was like, that's it. It's
well, I mean, to be fair,
we in an open relationship now, baby. We're polyamorous. Baby, be good with the polyamory thing because it's happening.
Was this before or after you entered in a relationship with Alyssa Milano?
Oh, it was way before.
Way before. So she's your day one.
Yeah.
But I have a recording of that day. I still have it. I brought a little portable microphone thing that I had, and I remember there was a panel, like a straight up con panel.
Awful moment.
No. The other moment was awful. This was where I asked about the porn draft. Remember when we did the porn draft?
This was the awful moment.
Was it awful?
So we were doing a porn draft. We did a porn draft on Twitter. Me, Mike, and a bunch of friends, mostly comedians, did a porn draft.
All guys.
And we would go, yeah, it's all guys. Right. And we would be like, actually, was it all guys? I think so. Was Q in this?
I don't remember.
Should I call her?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember.
But so it was like one by one on Twitter. We would all copy each other and be like, for my first pick in the porn draft, I would select, and then you start selecting porn actresses.
As like
And-
it was like an NFL draft, like your team. You make your dream team of porn stars.
Right,
No, I know what a
Okay.
draft is. I got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mike decides that this would be a good time. There's a panel all full of stunningly beautiful.
No.
I
porn
asked what
actresses.
okay, let me tell the story because you're telling it wrong because that's not what happened. It wasn't a bad moment. The guy who had the microphone asking the question started laughing because it was like, when the hell are these people ever asked the question? It was a bad moment because they didn't understand what the fuck a draft was.
Yeah, I didn't say bad moment. I said awkward moment. But okay,
Whatever. The point being is that all of the people around who kind of got the point were immediately started laughing,
them the
and then they
question you asked
buried the thing.
Tell them the question that you asked.
I'm
I
scared.
asked them. I was like, so I explained a little bit. I'm like, so my friends and I have decided we've done a porn star draft, like you would draft an NFL like fantasy football team. And I asked them, who would you want on your dream team if you could pick anybody? And to like see who they would want to fuck, right? And they went over their heads so far.
Can we get a womp womp womp?
But the second I mentioned it, like the dudes were all like the dude that had the microphone. I remember him saying, like I could hear him say, he was like, "Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good." Like,
So one person got it, but the whole room didn't.
No, everybody but the actresses.
Everybody
but
the porn stars.
Yeah, you probably had to phrase it a bit differently, of like just
No,
straight up like who
Then
would be
this
on
is
your
what
team.
happened. You want to hear the answers? I don't
Sure.
know. That's weird. I guess I'll be quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be the guy that catches the ball. I'll be like, that's the answers that we got, and we were like,
No, and and then the
honey.
moderator
oh, honey.
explained again what it was that it's like. No. If you were like to build a scene like with any like who, and then they were still like I guess
and then cut to me going like this.
I thought it was great. See, we have different receptive opinions about it because I was like, this is awesome. What's happening right now? Is
yeah,
unique.
you see, to me, it crushed my dreams because I really was that guy that was like, just because you're a porn star doesn't mean you're a fucking airhead. And that just took everything.
That's
man.
not true.
They were probably high. This was the year that we saw China.
I know. Oh, yeah.
Oof.
Man.
Oh,
We saw
R.I.P.
China came in late, super late to her,
Oh my
to her
God.
signing. And we saw her stumble like a newborn giraffe into the back. And this is not a joke. I'm not making fun of this.
Her. We're not mocking it, but they were like guiding her, and she was like,
They were guiding, and then they took it to the back row where nobody was, like, it was roped off, but we could fucking see it. It's a huge space.
It was at the Miami Beach
Yeah.
Convention Center.
Yeah. And so we see her, and they took her into the thing, and then like 20 minutes later, she left, and they're in an ambulance. Like she left, and then we see like an
On the
update. Like
news.
10 minutes later, we get an update on our phone saying that she's been admitted to the hospital or whatever. She didn't pass away then. It took like another 2 years for her to pass away, but we were there, and immediately it went from like, oh shit, there's China, to like, oh shit.
Oh, no. It was like, is that China? And then we were like, oh my God, that's China. Oh my God, that's China. You know, like it was like this odd.
sucks.
That was such a weird day. I'm gonna try to find the recording of that.
That makes me so sad.
But that was my favorite con because
It was titties everywhere.
Porn.
Tegan Presley. Oh, and then Mike, can I tell this story?
Yeah.
Mike takes a picture because he does
The
a meet
most
and greet.
awkward picture of all
I
time.
don't think so. I have the picture. I'll show you. Mike takes a picture with a porn star, right? And then like soon after, and I mean like soon after that day, he gets a girlfriend, and he goes, "Hey, don't post that picture of me with that porn star."
No. You're wrong. I had a girlfriend at the time that I was there. She was there too. My girlfriend went there.
Not with us. With the original?
Or was it the year after?
She did not go with us, buddy. It was just me and you, homie.
No, and your friend.
Right, but he
Moneyball.
got lost. So yeah, he got lost.
But
He got lost in some
I'm
people.
trying to remember because I think that she was there, and I met her after you. Like I don't because I didn't leave with you. I left with her.
Okay, what happened because of this picture?
Well, the point is
Yeah.
that it was like a year, like years later, when you were gonna do a TBT, and I was dating somebody else, like completely separate from that whole thing, and it was like gonna be a problem if that
Why?
popped up. It was years later.
Don't post a picture of me and that porn star. Mind you, the picture of him and that porn star, they're not fucking. They're
No.
not doing nothing. She's in a bathing suit. She's not even fucking naked.
She's in
She's in a
lingerie.
bathing suit. Now we're splitting
Yeah, but
hair.
you
Okay.
are not intimate with her in this photo. She's not
all.
an ex. She's not
At all.
anything. She is.
And
Do I
he
have my
didn't
hand
allow
on her
me
butt?
to-
I can't remember if I
Professional.
have my hand on her butt.
No, in the picture you can't tell.
Okay.
There's no way you can tell that from the picture. So then,
Either way,
trying to
she's a
be funny-
professional and this is her job.
So then, in trying to be funny in the text conversation, I edit.
Yeah,
I put an emoji of a cupcake on Mike's face.
yeah.
And I go, how about
Oh,
this?
I think I remember this photo. I
You
remember that.
the photo?
I remember
So
the
I
cupcake.
showed Stephanie, and Mike was not.
I was
There are
like,
times, look, there are times where
motherfucker.
Mike. There are times, even nowadays, there are times where when you talk about something serious with Mike, he's unable to grasp that fucking with him. Like you can't fuck with him because he's unable to grasp that because he's still.
The threat is
blinders on.
real.
I'm doing this because of the horse blinders. Because the
No.
blinders are like, no, this is fucking serious, bro. And he was like, you can't post that. You can still tell it's me. And I was like, I don't know about last time I looked at you, you didn't have a cupcake on your face. And I just and this is all via text. I
Such a
keep
dick.
fucking with him, and
He's
he's
an asshole.
Right.
not
But
fucking
that's-
having it.
No, because there's a very like that's like a very real threat. You know, like I knew from my side, I was like, this is going to cause a very real problem. I understand that it's a simple prank on Neri's side, and he's just fucking around. But I needed to confirm that he was fucking around and he wouldn't do it. He was like drilling into the fact is like, bro, I'm gonna post it and all stuff. And I'm like, I understand you're fucking around. Just tell me with your words.
I didn't even
Please.
say.
Tell
I
me
didn't
with your
even
words.
say
don't wanna
I was
fucking
going to
deal with
post. I
this.
go, what if I post it and say this?
Yes.
What if? And I
He
just
was
kept doing that. Like, what
doing
if I?
that? And I'm like, I
that
get
he
that it's
smelled
Mike was
joke.
just
blood.
trying to survive.
we
Mike was
both
just.
need to be that sure that it's a joke. We both need to be
And I
sure.
just kept fucking with him, and I was like, I don't think she'd mind. I mean, like, what? It's a bathing suit. I don't understand what the big deal. And like, he
Bro,
just
it
was,
was- I was like,
not.
It's
It's
the
like,
whole
oh,
emotion of
it's
the
like, I would just not. You would keep going, and I was like, Neri,
That's
please.
great.
That's his brand.
Yeah, I was like,
it,
did we
it
just
was
meet?
at that
Did we
point
just meet?
not
Like-
fun. It was like I was like, Neri, please.
It's
Please.
fun when it happens to other people, but when it happens to you, it's not so fun.
It's
It
not
was
even
so
fun when
great.
I don't like when it happens to other people either. I
Look
don't
how
like.
look how much he fucking got. He got so worked up at that time. This was years ago. Look how much he got so worked up years ago that even now, before I told the story, I asked him, "Hey, can I tell this story?" Like I had to fucking run it by
And he
him.
still has
in
leftover like
2021,
panic.
No.
In 2021,
It's
I
not
still
now.
felt the need to ask him if I could tell that story. You heard it. I go, "Hey,
Yeah,
can I
yeah,
tell
yeah.
the story?" And he goes, "Yeah." Like that's how much he was so fucking.
We all,
like,
the time has passed. There's things that happen to us. The time passed. You can look on and reflect on it differently. Yeah, at the time.
oh no!
it was
I
gonna be
looked
a-
at it the same way. I thought it was hilarious then. I think it's hilarious now.
It
I-
is
Wait,
funny.
I
I never
think
said it
past, I
wasn't.
think
I never
past
said-
Stephanie was also on your side. I'm like, please don't do that.
I was never. I was fully aware.
not
It's
gonna
not.
say
It
what side I
wasn't
would
not
be on.
funny to me. I thought it was very funny, but I'm also like the joke was gonna have very real repercussions for me if the joke was seen through. And
Was
as
the girl
much-
you were with really anti-sex work?
No, she was just really jealous, and we had gone through a cheating thing.
Oh, so she cheated.
I'm not gonna get into it, but the
Oh, my
idea of well, let me just say
Had an
this: I've
NDA.
never cheated on
He signed
anybody
it.
in my life.
Okay.
He signed an
then-
NDA.
I signed an NDA. I signed an NDA. All
Let's get to some
Let-
things here.
Wait,
Yes,
I wanna
there's some
know
really
Steph's-
good comments.
I want to
get to
know
the
Steph's
comments.
starstruck moment.
Vanessa says, when I met Jordy Benson, which is the voice of Ariel, she signed her VHS box of The Little Mermaid, but she signed over the peen on the castle.
Was
Well,
it
she's-
the original?
Jodie
Plastic.
Benson. Right?
Yeah, the plastic. The original art showed the dick, and she
Mhm.
signed over it. And I was like, oh, that's a fuck up move. That's fucking.
Well,
You should
not
have signed and
really.
drawn an arrow at it.
I will
Just
say, I was very
circled
happy.
it.
I was very happy for my wife when she met her because she's a like absurd.
It was
fan of
cute.
hers. But I had bought her. I forget what it was for her birthday or Christmas recently. I had bought her shoes that were custom made Little Mermaid shoes,
Oh.
and the only time she has ever worn those shoes was to fucking meet Jordy Benson, and Jordy
mean-
Benson complimented her shoes, and I was like, hey, that's great. And then I was like, you should have had her sign your shoes, and she's like, no, they're my fucking shoes. I want like she was like, no, fuck that. I don't want to.
She's still realistic. She's like, I want to wear these at some
Yeah.
point.
But she doesn't. She's never had worn again. Jeff says that he spent $200 for a photo op with Mark Hamill at Star Wars Celebration and regret nothing. I have the same picture with Mark Hamill, and I paid $0 for
He's
it.
an
Because you
asshole.
photoshopped your
Yes.
face onto Jeff's body.
Fucking
No, I
for the
photoshopped my whole body
His whole
onto
body.
Jeff's body,
Oh yeah.
and it looks like it's so ill proportioned because the picture that I got, it was a much closer picture of me. So my whole body looks like either Mark Hamill is my son or Mark Hamill, or I have a puppet of Mark Hamill. And I did it on purpose because I didn't want to like, I'm not trying to get away with shit. I'm not trying to get away with actually making people believe I had met him. I was being funny, and I posted a picture, and I thought it was great. And people were like, "Bro, that's so lucky, bro. I fucking love him. I wish I would have met him." And I was like, "Hey, boy, like I don't." And then some people were like, "That's fucking fake." I'm like, "Oh my god, Jesus Christ, guys! Of course, like
That's
it's
the
obvious.
joke. It's the joke.
It's
That's
so
the bit,
fucking
yeah.
obvious that it's fake." And then people were like, "Nah, bro, that looks fucking fake." And I'm like, "Oh my god, Jesus Christ." Yolanda says, "Hey,
This is
Mike,
great.
remember when your dad walked into Papo's office and Bruce Hornsby, George Benson, and Stevie Ray Vaughan were sitting there? He just bubbled and stumbled.
Yeah.
He just blubbered and stammered around. I don't know who
I
two of
feel-
those names. I
Yes,
recognize
okay.
two of those names.
I just recognize one. Stevie
I feel like
Ray
it
Vaughan is
needs
the only one.
Bruce Hornsby.
I feel like it needs a little explanation. So Papa
Yes.
was my grandfather, right? Papa was
Mhm.
my grandfather, and he was a very well-known classical guitarist. He started the first classical guitar program at the university level at the University of Miami. He was like this known classical guitarist technique master, right? Real famous in that circle of guitar players. Bruce Hornsby is and he would teach out of his office in the house. Bruce Hornsby is the that's just the way it is, right? I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, he's like a recorder, big time old school recording artist. That's just the way it is. A bunch of songs. And then George Benson is
Tupac?
like this R&B guy. What?
Tupac. That's just the way it is. Or that's Tupac.
Yeah. Let me see. Give Me the Night.
It's in my head now.
The Greatest Love of All. All right, he's another very like top of the charts guy of his era, and then of course Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I love your remixes. I love your remixes of his music.
Yeah, right. But they're all sampled, you know. But then also Stevie Ray Vaughan is like this incredible, famous.
Yeah, that's the only one I do.
artist, yeah. And occasionally they would all come. Like some people would come, like Steve. Oh God, what's the guy's name? Steve Howe. So another famous guitar. They all studied with him. So like my dad would walk into the house sometimes, and there'd be like a world famous guitarist there, and he'd just be like, "Hey, you know." And Stevie Ray Vaughan would have done that to me too. I mean, rest in peace, Stevie Ray Vaughan. But that would have been a fucking
Well, yeah,
crazy.
I do that now. If I saw him now, I'd be like, oh man.
The dead are walking the earth. It's happening. It's happening.
Yolanda says Stormy Daniels for the win. Is that a
mushroom? Yeah.
Okay.
She took a big loss.
Vanessa remembers the picture.
Yeah.
She remembers the picture. We have it we made it a magnet on a refrigerator.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
I swear to God, we did. Watch.
There was yeah.
And then Vanessa says, off topic, Steph, I love your sweater. Carry on.
Well, I want to ask Steph a question. Do you have a starstruck moment?
She mentioned
You said
So I've been lucky enough to meet certain celebrities through work, but the random one, other than the Raven Simone throwing me off when I was 13, was oh shit, fuck, I'm trying to remember his name. Bobby McFerrin.
Oh
wow,
okay.
Yeah, that one. I literally
all
just
the names you could have said. I was not.
Who's that?
The don't worry, be happy.
Who that
Yeah.
be?
Okay.
Don't worry, be happy now.
No, yeah.
But I'm saying, out of all the famous people I had met and worked with,
1,000 guesses, I would not have guessed Bobby McFerrin.
it's just that song is so much a part of like my childhood and like
Aw.
song like me and my dad and things.
That song could have been playing in the background. You would give me a million guesses. I still would have fucking guessed. Like that's no way.
Look at this guy.
That's what I'm saying. I've had other people I've worked with, but because of the fact that I was in work mode, I was not in starstruck mode because I was like just shooting them and stuff like that. And it wasn't until afterwards I was like, "Oh, that was pretty cool."
Professional.
But because I wasn't expecting to shoot him, I just knew I was shooting someone who was performing, and I walked in and it was him. I was like, oh shit. Like it threw me off for a second. And I had that moment of like, you're the don't worry, be happy guy. You're the don't worry, be happy guy. That's like my childhood.
That's cute.
And I got some great shots of him. But
That's
He's also a well-known composer. He's done a ton of work since Don't Worry, Be Happy.
That's like the Eddie Murphy bit when he talks about that when foreigners meet him. He's like, hey, Eddie Murphy, fuck you guy.
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you guy. Yeah, you the fuck you, Eddie Murphy. Fuck you. Like that's what you did to this dude. You're like, hey, be happy.
I didn't say
Don't worry,
it.
be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
No, I didn't
like
say
when
it.
they ask-
It was more along the lines of like, oh crap, I love you. Like it was like, oh my god, it's you. Like
When they were asking Paul Rudd about like, what do people shout now that he's got such a long career? What do people shout out to you in the street? Like what lines for movies? And they all go,
probably
Ant-Man.
slapping the bass. Oh really?
Like,
I
they
thought it
just
would be
shout
slapping the
Ant-Man
bass.
at him. And, well, he says that,
sacrilegious.
but that's the thing. Like the first words, like if you just turn the corner and you see Paul Rudd, like I guess the first words out of your mouth would be to like label the person in front of you, and so like everybody's just like Ant-Man, like just like reactively.
Mr. Banana Hammock.
Yeah.
To me, he would still be like he's still like the brother from Clueless.
That's who he is to me. That's when like
Yeah.
Josh. What is the
Okay,
you know the name.
he's Josh.
He is
Oh,
Phoebe's unnecessary storyline husband.
How
Yeah.
dare you?
Yeah. Oh, man.
How dare you?
He was the best.
He is
like that's another thing also, like Neri will tell you, like if you meet, like there's a million comedians that you end up meeting and it feels very different.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever been starstruck by a comedian other than Dave Chappelle?
No.
Yeah, when he goes in the mirror, he's like
Oh my
super
God.
starstruck.
Oh my God.
No.
It's weird, right? It's different.
It's very different. And the only reason I was starstruck with Dave
Because it's
Chappelle-
like your coworkers, or is it like
Yeah.
is it like that
That's
mindset
right.
that you're just
it's in a weird way. This is exactly it goes back to like my not wanting to ask people for shit because in a much smaller sense, no way am I putting myself in the same category or the same, but in a much smaller scale, I know what it's like to be these guys and don't want to be bothered for shit. So when they're backstage, they're like, this is their time off type of shit, like where they don't have to be on. And so like that's why I was so hesitant to ask Dave Chappelle, like, hey, can you say this into my fucking phone? Would you mind saying this? Because we had worked together 4 or 5 times and we had laughs and we joked and enjoyed each other's company, whatever. I'm sure he wouldn't remember who the fuck I am if you told him my name. I'm sure he wouldn't be like, who? I don't like whatever.
he
But
thinks
the point
about
is,
it.
I
bet
did
you he
not.
listens.
I thought in my mind, I was like, oh, he's like a coworker. So asking a coworker to do this, it just feels awkward. Same thing goes for anybody famous. So that's why when I met Batman voice, I didn't want to be like, hey, can you? But I ended up, I did end up asking him. I'm like, hey, is there any way you could just say like in your Batman voice? Can you just say like, thank you for checking out the What's Up Bro podcast? And he was like, Warner Brother owns the rights to that, and so I can't do it.
Of his voice.
What a good lie.
That's
No,
a fantastic lie. I thought it was a fantastic lie. I knew he was lying at that moment, and I was like, oh, you're full of shit.
Solid. You're like, oh
Wait.
yeah, great,
Solid.
good job, man.
You know what? You don't want to do it. I get it. You've been asked this 1,000 times today.
But you played ball. But you went with it. You went with it.
But
Yeah.
I
that
absolutely
possible?
wanted it. I
Yes.
did not. In fact, I even after we left and said thank you so much, appreciate everything, whatever, blah blah. After we left, my wife was with me, Vanessa, and I was like, yeah, that's full of shit. That's
Okay.
bullshit. I knew it was complete full of
That's
shit, but I was like, it's cool, it's fine.
What a good deflect. Yeah, blame
Yeah.
this massive faceless corporation that is always the villain. It's like, yeah, nailed it, Kevin Conroy. Good job.
Yeah.
So I wasn't mad, I wasn't upset because of that.
Oh,
But
I just remembered one
But
actually.
I wasn't upset because I felt bad even bothering him to begin with. So when I asked him and he gave me that lie, I knew that it was bothering him. I'm like, nope, not pushing it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Sorry.
Steph?
What was your stuff?
Shakira?
Oh, I just remember, like, literally just burst into my head, and I knew I was gonna forget it. Because I get what Neri's saying that, like, when you're in professional mode, you don't do it. That's why I'm saying, like, I've worked with some cool people, but because I was in that headspace, it didn't get thrown off. The one that did throw me off was I was in Lincoln Road Mall one day, trying on dresses with a friend of mine. And then out of nowhere, this girl next to me, because I was like, I don't know if I should get it. It shows like a lot of skin, da-da-da-da. And this girl next to me starts going like, girl, yeah, like you look hot, like get it. And then I start talking with her. And then when I turn around and start talking to her, my friend's like, that's Khalees. That's Khalees. That's Khalees. Her
Which-
milkshakes. Her milkshakes.
Oh, milkshake.
Amazing.
Oh,
That's
And
cool.
I was like, and I'm sitting there just trying to be like, oh yeah, Khalees.
Are you sure?
You like this?
I would like
I
your
bought it.
opinion on my milkshakes, please.
I'm like, but how do I look? And she's like she's like complimented and how I looked and like gave me compliments on my body. And I was like, fuck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I was riding high for a
That's
while
cool.
and
That's
I bought
cool.
the dress.
That is
Of
very
course, yeah,
cool.
you do what Khalees says.
I'm like,
That
This
those
is the
are
milkshake dress.
that.
Do you
But
still
that's
have
always
it?
nice to hear.
Do you
Huh?
still have it? The
That should
milkshake
fit
dress?
me now.
I'm asking if you own it, not if you're gonna post
yeah,
a
we're
pic.
not
No, no,
asking you to
Those
wear
are
it.
two
We're
separate
asking you-
questions.
Yeah.
No. I didn't like it broke at some point because I
Because you bought it at
was
Lincoln Road Mall.
because I got a Lincoln Road Mall because too many of the milkshakes were very enthusiastic and one ripped it.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Good for you,
Wow.
babe.
Not
Good
really.
for Khalees.
Not really. You know what a milkshake is.
No.
It's just putting jokes in.
The milkshake. brings
Paul,
all the
Ro-
boys
yes,
to
you
the-
see, my wife and I are on the same page. He is Mr. Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock. Yeah, that's.
He's had many lives, Paul Rudd. Paul
First
Rudd has
one
had
was-
many lives.
Did you see that show?
But
that
it's
he's on
harder to
Netflix?
yell that
New
at
show?
him than Ant-Man.
That
Yeah,
new show he has.
Which
Netflix.
one?
It's
Not
him.
new, but it's been there, yeah.
Is
I
it where
mean-
he plays the two
Yeah, it's like less than
versions
a
of
year old.
himself? Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
it's
seen
less
it.
than a year
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
I'm up to like episode 4 or 5, and I remember I watched the first episode the first week that it came out, that the show came out. I had zero clue what the show was about.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's Paul Rudd. So I thought it was a movie at first. I didn't know it was and so when I watched it, I was like, what this is fucking wild, man. So
It's weird.
up until recently, I like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I watched the next 3 or 4 episodes. So I'm like very close to finishing the season. I don't know if it's gonna continue. I'm assuming not. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because he's Marvel now.
Well, that's the most famous. Like that is the biggest thing he's ever done. Like I get like Clueless was a big movie, but more people on Earth right now would have seen Marvel than Clueless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Clueless is big for those of us that like that was a thing. Like the way that Mean Girls.
It
Ooh,
also
you didn't wanna
triggered
say
a lot
old.
of pop culture.
You were
Like,
trying
it-
to avoid
I'm
saying
not.
old so
I don't
bad.
have a problem with calling myself vintage. Thank you very much.
You didn't even say old. You said vintage.
Well, tomato
Seasoned.
and tomato.
She's
Hey,
very
nobody-
seasoned. She's very seasoned.
I am very. Yep,
I
I'm
consider
weathered.
us a
I'm
veteran of the
weathered.
pop culture wars.
No, marinated. You're marinated.
Hey,
Ugh.
nobody asked me about my Star Trek moment.
You can
Didn't
just tell us.
say
You
I don't have one.
can just tell us.
I don't have
what?
one.
What a attention.
Remember how you
seeker.
said? Remember how you said that you were totally happy with acting like a bitch? Maybe that's why. Maybe famous people just avoid you
Probably.
because of the vibes.
In that case, it's working because I don't want anyone to talk to me. So check.
You would.
You
Wait.
literally go up to these people and you're like, what?
No,
What
I want.
celebrity would you want to meet? Not
Jason
fuck.
Momoa.
Meet.
Jason Momoa.
No, I don't want. That guy could fix. Like if he looked at me for 10 seconds, I think I'd be cured for life about a lot of things. So Jason Momoa is for sure.
Big
I would
Nasty.
look. Huh? Big
Big
Nasty. He's not doing no fucking signing things at Big Nasty is the.
Nobody. He didn't say who would you go see at a con. He said
I'm
who
trying.
would you want to meet.
I wouldn't want to
Big
meet him
Sexy.
though.
Which
Really?
one's Big Sexy?
Big Nasty is okay. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Neri is the gayest straight guy you ever talk to because we send each other DMs of this guy's pictures.
So Big
Big
Nasty,
Nasty?
is his Instagram handle. Is Big Nasty.
He's the
And-
villain.
He's
From
he,
Creed
he is
2.
he is Ivan Drago's son in Creed 2.
Oh yeah, that guy
It's
is
called-
ripped.
Yes.
And a
bro.
half.
Hold up.
Bro, you have no idea.
Uh,
He could rip
well,
you.
I don't know that I would go out of my way to meet him though. But
Who said going out of your way? He just said, "Who do you want to meet?"
There's
Like,
I'm
you
not,
keep
no
telling me-
qualifiers.
I'm talking. Oh, I thought we were talking about like in the realm of
No.
a con.
No.
Oh, like just
No,
bump into them
no.
at my Starbies.
Well, yeah, because that's what we're kind of like. If you're at a con, you can prepare yourself mentally for the person you're going to go get an autograph from. These are the surprise moments where you just like my dad, where he just walks into the room and sees a whole bunch of old famous people. Like
I would
the
love to run into-
unexpected celebrity sighting.
I would love to run into Stevie Nicks. I don't know that she's going to be in the Doral
Ooh.
area anytime soon, but I would.
Well, we're not asking who's realistic to run into. Like, who'd you
No,
like?
yeah,
to run into?
Stevie Nicks. I would love to talk to her for 10 seconds. I feel like she would tell me good stuff that's coming because she's a witch.
I'm trying to figure out what musician, because all mine are movie people. So I'm trying to figure out what musician I would really be starstruck
Bro,
about.
I'm not gonna lie. Like lately, if I met Lizzo,
Oh,
I
that's a good
fucking
one.
love her.
Lizzo
She's
would be
such a good
fun.
vibe.
She's cool and she's
I wonder-
honest. I don't know.
I wonder how much of that is real or versus a character. I would like. It's always sad. Also, like they tell you never meet your heroes or anything like that because what if they're not like what you expected them?
It's
to be?
pretty real
Yeah.
though. She's pretty real on her.
I knew
On
myself a long time ago. It's fine.
this fucking guy.
Be your own hero, kids. Be your own.
Oh my
fucking
god!
hero.
Oh my god! Can you look at Yolanda's celebrity?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
she had
Oh,
posted
I
one.
did I see the comments? How do I get? She met Neil
Yolanda says-
Armstrong.
Yeah, met Neil
Yolanda says
Armstrong.
that she met Neil Armstrong after he came back from the moon in 1969
That's
in
fucking
Belgium.
awesome.
That's
Shook his hand.
awesome.
That's
So here, let me ask you a
amazing. I think
question.
that one wins.
Let me ask you a question, Yolanda. When you say after he went to the moon, because if I meet him now, it's after he went to the moon. So my question is,
Mhm.
how recent after the moon? How recent
He
after?
got off and he was there.
Yeah,
She was the one that reached her hand into the capsule to help him out. That's how she shook his hand. She
The
was
phrase,
like, "Oh, let me help you out."
Yeah, the phrase of like I met him after the moon landing. Like like anybody who met him for the last 50 years has met him. After
I think just
the
random.
moon
She
landing.
met him in Belgium.
That's like Gremlins,
Yeah,
where they're
what were
like,
you
"Don't."
doing in Germany? Let's. I need that story too.
She's an
Those are
army. She's an Air Force
You know,
brat.
yeah, she's
Her
an Air
dad.
Force brat.
Her
Remember
dad
we
was.
talked
an
about
Air
Air Force.
Oh.
She was born in
Yolanda.
England.
She's so fucking cool.
Yeah, Yolanda's cool. This is like Gremlins, right? Where they tell you like, don't feed them after midnight. Like all the time is after midnight,
Yeah, it happened.
right?
And are we talking about Eastern Standard Time? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about? It's like
Still it's
if
after
you're
midnight.
flying,
Technically,
if you're flying with Gizmo, like let's say I'm flying from Miami to fucking LA, can I feed them?
He's
Like,
really strict about his time zones. He just has a really specific diet, and he just like tries to fast at certain times of the
Can't do
day.
Is the celebrity I would randomly run into? Did they have to be alive?
Probably,
I
it's
mean-
probably the best that they're alive.
yeah,
Then you
Running
can
into
freak
the
out.
celebrity's corpse.
Freddie Mercury's out.
yeah. Freddie Mercury would
Oh
be
yeah,
cool.
bro.
He be
Yolanda
dead.
says after their quarantine, they travel to Belgium first.
Oh, so
right
like
Wow,
right
that's
after.
like right after. It still has some moon dust on them.
And
Hot
shook his
dog.
hand.
Man.
And shook his hand.
That's
That's
amazing.
cool, man. Imagine saying you
Yolanda, how
talked-
old were you at that moment? I'm not trying to do the math of how old you are now. I'm just saying
You don't
because it's
ask
different.
me
I'm not asking how old she is now. I'm asking
You
how
didn't
old
see her
was she when
follow-up
you met Neil
comment.
Armstrong.
What's your
Because
follow-up comment?
Her follow-up comment to the initial thing was just, "I'm old."
I'm old, yeah.
I'm old.
And I was
Then
like,
you
"You're
have-
not old.
I'm
You're
trying to figure out-
historic."
So when you meet Neil Armstrong right after he came back from the moon, like it's different. It hits different.
Mm.
How
She
old
was
was she? Was
she's
9.
awesome.
Oh,
Which
that's
is-
such a cool.
That's awesome.
That's
But if
awesome.
you would have met him when she was 18, it would have been a different kind of awesome. It would have been like a sexually charged awesome.
Wait, no.
Like,
Wait a minute. Don't make
Legit.
it weird.
Legit. No, here's the reason why.
You're writing fan
Oh
fiction
my
about
God.
Yolanda and Neil
No,
Armstrong.
so
here's the reason
gross.
why I believe this. Here's the reason why I believe this.
My
in
therapist
one of-
tomorrow.
In one of my shows a few years ago, I talked to people and go, "What do you do? Whatever. How'd you guys meet? How long have you been married? Blah blah. Where was your first date?" I asked, "Where was your first date?" And this couple was like, "We went and we saw the moon landing on TV." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah." I'm
Wow.
like, "Where?" And he was like, "Oh, there was a thing. Like he like it was a viewing, whatever. So there was a place
A watch party.
that was the moon, watch party for the moon landing." And you got to remember, the fucking TVs weren't that big back then. I was bored. So he's telling me this, and I'm like, "Fuck, like that's so incredible." And I'm like, "Did you get some?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was the moon landing. Yeah, fucking of course I got some." He was like, "Absolutely."
The hope on every human being's life. Oh my God, we're landing
Yeah.
on the moon! Quick, give me something to fuck. Like,
And then it was like one of those super emotional. The
Wait,
entire
what's
country
going
was on this high. I'm like, "Oh man, we fucking USA. It was
we
that
beat the Russians.
Yeah, we beat the Russians. There was all this crazy high, and then he said, and then I asked him the joke that I came up with afterwards. I was like, "What do you do for a follow up? Like, how do you fucking go on a second date? Like, how do
Disney?
you do?" And he goes, "It was very difficult. Like, it was so like he was like, it wasn't the same. Like, it didn't have that same." And they ended up being married. They were married like 40 or 50 years, whatever it was. But So I believe that there was a very
Where were
emotional
you
time.
when we landed on the moon inside my wife?
Inside my future wife. bro. So I believe that if you had Yolanda been 18, they were fucking. That dude was a rock star, bro. A fucking. He came back down to earth to be amongst the fucking stars. Not to be poetic, but it was pretty cool.
I mean,
Remini.
There are fewer people that have walked on the moon than have been to like the top of Mount Everest, and have been to, you know, like the you know, like there's like, think of just you. There's a handful of people who have stepped on another heavenly body. Like that's fucking wild to me. I'm gonna nerd out science stuff,
and we know 2 of their names. Because the other ones
Well,
are Russians and fucking Swedish, and like I don't know their fucking name, but I know Neil Armstrong. I know that.
No.
I know that guy did it. Like that. That's how
I know Buzz
fucking
Aldrin.
that's how popular that guy was. So if I'm sure an 18-year-old meeting him, shaking his hand right after he landed, I'm sure I would have been like, "Hey, here's shake my hand." Oh, is that my hotel key in my room 412, bitch? Like I
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, of course.
Leah Remini. I'd love to run into her in a coffee shop. That'd be
Oh,
great.
she'd be interesting to run into.
I
Full
love
of
her.
stories.
Like independently from her like attack on Scientology, rightfully so, but just she's fucking great.
Well, right now I just want to meet Bo Burnham and make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
Jeff recommended that special, and I feel like it's a little like
Yeah, I don't want to
heavy.
watch it. From
Yeah, I don't want to.
I loved it.
It's
I love it.
100% an experience that you have to be like. I wasn't ready to watch it when I was watching it, and I was watching it with the knowledge that, oh, this is going to be something I'm going to think about for a while.
It was actually really cathartic for me.
Because
I've been in a really bad headspace this whole year with everything and stuff like that. So a lot of it was actually really cathartic because I'm like, I was able to watch and be like, bro, been there. Like, been there.
Okay,
that's why I'm like, I know he's one of the people I would want to meet just to like give him a hug and be like,
there was so much funny stuff, but then also it like bridged that gap between like the hilarity of his commentary, and he's like saying real ass shit, but it's also framed around this idea that we've all been dealing with a global pandemic, fucking all this political strife, the democracy's collapsing around us, and we've been stuck inside. Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the funny.
Well,
I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud at so many things. White Woman's Instagram alone is so fucking good. He deserves an Oscar for the cinematography of White Woman's Instagram.
The fact that he did all that on his own, his cinematography and his like eye is really his eye is beautiful. Like the way he edits things and like the way he
win
shoots
awards.
Gorgeous.
It was amazing.
What about the other eye?
He's got an eye. He's got an ear for music, an eye for cinematography, and the other two don't do shit.
Yolanda wrote, "My mother made me wash my hands after a week. She did not want to wash her hands, but made her wash her hands."
Germs.
So cool.
Hey, did you guys hear that Rob Zombie is doing a reboot of the Munsters?
Yeah,
he's not a good reboot ever, so I'm not looking forward to it.
Okay, but can I tell you about a meme that Will Watkins shared, and then I asked him if I could share it on my thing because it was so funny. There was a picture of Rob Zombie, and it said Rob Zombie looks like if you microwaved Jason Momoa for 30 minutes on high, and I'm still laughing about it, and it's been a week because that shit was hilarious.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. Rob Zombie's looking a little rough these days, but also like that's his vibe. Like he wants to look that way.
I mean, he looked a little rough when he was young, so I can't imagine it's going well for him now. How old is he? In his 70s, probably.
Oh, we gotta do it. Am I the asshole? Yolanda, you're saying good night. I hope you're not leaving. Are you leaving? Oh.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Let's do a quick.
We have so many.
We sent you a few this week.
Oh, on Twitter.
Oh, there was a good one. Wait. There was a good one that we got to talk about, and it was the one about the sister, about asking her sister not to have her dad walk down the aisle.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Missy,
all I have is am I the asshole for letting my brother's ex-girlfriend stay here over my brother?
No.
While you guys are looking for it, while this conversation has been going on and we've been talking about like all this stuff, I'm literally in the corner of my eye, my phone notifications are going off because one of my brothers decided to reshare the story with my friends about the time that I did edibles and passed out in front of my parents. So literally in the corner, we're
Go
talking
on.
about this stuff, and in the corner, all I'm seeing is this, and people being like, "Ha ha ha ha."
That's their celebrity moment of like, remember?
I found the am I the asshole
Remember.
for asking my sister not to have my dad walk her down the aisle? Should I shoot
Yes.
my shot? All right.
Yes.
Before my mom and dad married, this is commas aren't her thing. My mom was in a relationship with another man that produced a daughter. Mary I get the code name. They broke up shortly after Mary was born, and within 6 months our mom had married my dad. They've been married for nearly 30 years and share 4 children, myself plus 3. Mary is close with our sisters and brother, but she and I have never really gotten along. We're just different personalities and see little of each other so as to remain civil when we are together. We both became engaged to Mary around the same time. My dad has always loved Mary and viewed her as one of his kids, despite Mary having her own loving dad. Mary's dad battled cancer at various times of his life, and unfortunately, he died when Mary was 20. I suppose I've always been a little jealous that my dad has always viewed Mary as his child and she got the love of 3 parents. My dad has often said that part of falling in love with our mom was aided by baby Mary. I understand that a stepfather can love a stepchild just as much as a biological child, but factually, I am my father's oldest child, his first daughter, and I always thought that I would be the first child he walked down the aisle, the first daughter he shared a father-daughter dance with. I've always thought that I am entitled to this as the first daughter and first child. Entitled, keyword. Mary has mentioned in our family Zoom chats that she's considering asking my dad to do the fatherly tasks at her wedding, walking down the aisle, giving her away father-daughter dance, but she might also ask our brother or one of her uncles from her dad's side, who she's very close to. After that chat, I called her to talk privately and asked her to not have my dad walk her down the aisle. I explained everything as I have above, apologized to her that her father can't be here, but my dad is not her dad, and I can never get back any of those firsts if she takes them. I pointed out that despite Mary not being his real child, my dad saw Mary. My dad saw. Shit, I lost my place. My dad. It broke up. Sorry. I pointed out that despite Mary not being his real child, my dad saw her first words, her first steps, her first everything, because he's been in her life since she was less than a year old. And when I came along, none of those things were as special to my dad as they should have been. And he refers to me as his second child. FWIW. What does that mean?
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth, Mary has never considered my dad anything more than a stepfather. They get along well, they love each other, but Mary has always been clear that her dad was her dad and my dad was her stepdad. Mary was incredibly offended by my request and called me a few choice names and logged off. She is now ignoring my calls and texts as I try to further explain. She obviously told our mom and my dad because my dad sent me a text telling me that he was disappointed in me and that families come in all shapes and sizes. It was never my intent to hurt anyone, bitch, please. But I feel very strongly about this and had to speak up or regret it. Was I an asshole? Edit. In all caps. Whoever reported me to the Reddit crisis people, that's a sick thing to do. That button should not be abused. You have no idea if it might actually send someone over the edge receiving it.
All right, wait. This is a rare.
I think we know how Missy feels.
Yeah, I know, Missy. You. We need Mike to read it because you have no poker face. You have no poker face whatsoever.
Was I supposed to have a poker face?
You didn't have poker face, poker voice, none of it.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. So this is the only time in the history of us doing this segment that I've actually read this ahead of time. Only reason I did that is because my wife forced me to. She's like, you have to read it. You have to read it. You have to read it. So I did. And here's the thing. She has sent, Missy, if you could follow up right after that, she sent screenshots of the comments underneath. The comments are very important in this, and it'll be reviewed as to why the comments are important.
Can someone send me the link? I want to see
it's
what we're talking about.
It's screenshots.
This is going to sound. So this is one. This comment was made by Apollo Simba. Great guy. This is going to sound harsh, but your parents failed her. They never should have let a 13-year-old.
No. You're reading out of order. Okay.
Okay.
So the first comment. All right. So the comment underneath: for the love of God, I think I might be Mary, because this is literally what is happening with myself and my sister Lucy. When our brother said that someone on Am I the Asshole is posting something that is eerily similar to the fight going on, I thought he was joking. But obviously, he is not. Hey, y'all, I'm, quote, Mary, the aforementioned half sister. I have resurrected my old account just to comment here. Lucy, stop blasting family problems on the internet. You've already taken this to Facebook and you're texting all of mom's family, and you need to stop.
Whoa.
You aren't even actually engaged to Hunter yet. You've only been together for a couple of months. You know, Seth and I have been together for 7 years. Seriously, you have always been irrational, but this is absolutely ridiculous.
What?
You need to take this post down and stop telling half-skewed versions of the fact. If anybody would like to know the parts of the story that she is leaving out, feel free to message me and comment here. There's a lot more going on here than my sister is letting on.
Can I read it?
Huh?
Is there? Because
We're getting there.
Oh,
There's a lot more going on here than my sister is letting on. I'm sorry, everyone. You're investing yourselves in a half-baked drama without all the facts. Then she writes, next paragraph down. My sister has always done this, so I'm sorry she brought this all onto you. I'm sorry. Edit. I hope I've helped clear things up a little bit. At least you have the rare opportunity to see the other side of this argument. I'm glad my brother subs Am I the Asshole and saw this when he was sorting by new. Normally he scrolls past anything dealing with weddings, but he said this one sort of hit him because it was exactly what was going on, and he knew it was us for meeting it. I'm going to go away now. I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And it says, Lucy, get some help. Next one. Next post. Lucy has a habit of saying she's in these deep relationships when she isn't. I have been incredibly lucky in my love life. I met my fiance, Seth, when we were in our early 20s, and we just fell for each other. We were talking marriage within the first year, but held off until we were more mature, older, and wiser. Ever since then, Lucy has, quote, dated men and acted like they were her soulmates. In truth, she basically stalks these poor guys and goes full-on overly attracted girlfriend into the
overly attached. I think
overly
that's
attached. Overly attached girlfriend until they break up with her. And she spends the next decade talking smack about them when she is the problem in every single relationship. She's been dating a guy for a few months, and then Seth and I officially announced our engagement, and suddenly she and this boy are engaged and are in love, and she's finally found the one person to make her happy forever. She didn't ask me not to have Paul walk me down the aisle. She ordered me not to ask Paul not to walk me down the aisle. It was never a request out of sisterly love. She sent me a cursed and insult-laden text message demanding that I have someone else walk me down the aisle or I'd be sorry. Whatever the fuck that means. She didn't say fuck. I'm saying fuck. Paul isn't just disappointed. He and mom aren't speaking to her right now because after I told them about Lucy's latest meltdown, Paul called her and Lucy went off on him. Oh, and Lucy also told me that if I wanted a dad to walk down the aisle, then I should consider investing in a shovel and a backhoe and hoping the human decay process isn't too far along.
Oh, and I was supposed to keep a poker face? Look what's happening.
By the way, my reading, it stayed like this. But I fucking read the tone.
I'm micromanaging my life.
Okay, so I think this one's relatively easy.
No. I should read what is on file.
He's not
We can't assume anything.
We have to go by what's written in the post. We can't make any assumptions.
Can I just tell you, even let's say we didn't have the sisters, other half of the story. Is there any way that you could have imagined this going that way?
Well, from the original,
never been like, what if she told her sister to fucking dig up her dead dad? Like, I would have never thought to have even, possibly said that.
Well,
so,
again, every time we read one of these, the person posting it is clearly troubled. Like, nobody goes to Reddit to be like, clearly this is an objective thing and I'm just somewhere 50-50. Like, clearly it's always written with like some sort of bias and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I already
in other comments, people have said, "Hey, your parents failed her. She did it, and whatever. They should have gotten help with her." And she goes through this whole thing where, like, she explains. I'm not gonna read every because it's fucking. That's a lot of comments.
yeah.
She goes into talking about that her parents tried throughout the years to like help her with therapists, and like it just. And she explains that she doesn't just have this problem with her; it's even with her own siblings, with her, full-blooded, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Yeah.
That that she has these problems with, that she has these full-on meltdowns, and like it's
clearly this woman is troubled. I mean, like her post, like her own writing, because again, if we're only going by what's in her post, we can clearly see that she is having this like bias of like, but I'm the only I'm the one that's going. I'm entitled. I'm entitled. She's not really their daughter, and it's like,
even though like the guy's been around since she was only a few months old. That is also his child.
It's like, wait, I don't know, a few months old. I thought she was 20.
6 months? No, 6 months old. She was they married, and then 6 months later he met the.
Oh, are these things unrelated? It's basic. I read this thing that says, okay, so basically my dad did not just die. I was his next of kin and had to order his life support turned off. So she was 20 years old.
No, I was saying that she also had this other man in her life since she was only a few months old. She's never not had this man in her life.
Sure.
Like he is still a parental figure.
Right.
Whether he's her father or not, still parental figure.
Man. It got, let's just say, more complex with the additional information, but also like from the
Jeff,
who knows if that's true?
Just commented, Hunter's the asshole.
Who knows
if that crazy lady?
Who knows if she's making that up too, or threatened him in some way? Like she's got to be manipulating the situation.
That's what the sister's saying. Sister's saying that like we announced our engagement, and all of a sudden now, immediately after we announced our engagement, it's me and Hunter are engaged. And we're gonna marry, and we're in love.
And Hunter's like, what, we are? Like, what's happening?
Like, I don't know.
Hypothetically, right?
Yeah. What's going on?
Wow! What a reveal! What a reveal! Good Lord!
All right, so let's say, let's see here. Yolanda says, insecure much?
That came through just when she was reading the original post.
Yeah. The only time I kind of like, I was like, oh, I get where she's coming from a little, like in the original post was when she said the first dance. I always envisioned the first dance, he handing me like the first father-daughter dance. Right. I always envisioned that being with me. Like I was like, oh, that's
a bit entitled, because just because you're the older sibling doesn't mean you're the first one that's gonna get married.
Right, like, she's the oldest girl. She's the only girl. She has brothers.
She also expected her father to be the other girl's father to be alive still, to be the one to do all that with her. Because
again, just to clarify, I'm not saying she was right, or I'm not siding with her. I'm saying the only time that I was kind of like, oh, I understand where she's coming from is that one thing. And then she used words like I was entitled, and I was like, no,
man, wow.
There's a difference between I was always hoping that my dad would be dancing with me the first time. There's that, and then this is my entitlement. Like, Missy.
I don't feel any kind of way about this.
What?
That's a joke.
How?
I don't. There's so much to unpack. Mary feels like Mary's been through a lot in her life, and this is probably not the worst of it. Like this is just one scenario. The sister, I don't know if did we ever get her name?
She said Mary.
Lucy?
She went with Mary.
No, I mean the one that wrote the fucking crazy.
Lucy is what they went with.
She's unhinged. Like she needs to talk to somebody and figure this shit out. She's definitely the asshole. I don't know what it is about people being so fucking jealous about other people doing well. Like someone please explain it to me, because I don't understand.
Well, she's mentally ill. You know what I mean? Like there's clearly
people that are mentally
ill
still like begrudge other people's happiness, and I don't understand that. It costs you nothing to be happy for people.
Yeah, it doesn't take being mentally ill to be jealous of other people's accomplishments.
Right.
Like,
No, I understand
Not,
that. But this
not,
woman,
not like
the absence of empathy or anything like that is like a sociopathic trait. Like it's a clinical thing that sociopaths cannot show empathy
but
towards
there's a
other
difference
people.
between being not
But the
being
difference is being the sociopath and just being a bitch.
Right, right. I'm
and there's a
saying
diff-
this
and
this
there's a
woman is
difference
both.
and there's a difference between not showing empathy and being flat out enraged at your happiness.
Right.
Those are two
and
different
that's alarming and like ugly, and not like physically ugly, just like ugly on the
Hunter
inside.
needs to run.
Like you have like the Mucinex guys inside of you. Like that's
Oh.
how ugly you are. Just
God.
disgusting. And
What a visual.
I
She has
don't
some Mucinex guys in her brain, is what it is.
I don't
'Cause
I don't
good Lord.
really I don't really get it. I don't understand why people are like this. I mean, be a bitch for fun, but not like for real. Like come on. Like come on.
Whoa.
I do it for fun.
Wait,
Like,
what
have
a
fun
sentence.
with
She's
it.
Be a
gone
bitch
full
for
circle
fun,
with her
not
bitch.
for
I'm
be a bitch for fun, not for real. That is
Yeah.
such a great sentence.
I
I wanna do one of those
No, that's the
high
title
school
of the
grammar diagrams of this.
You
where
can be
deconstruct
a
the
bitch and
sentence.
like it's harmless. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't, I have fun, but I'm not like out here like pissed
Show
and
your
other
work.
people are happy.
Show your work. How can you be a bitch for fun?
How
Show
can
your
you
work.
be a
How
bitch
can you
for
be a bitch
fun
for
and have
fun?
it not have people just think of you as a bitch for real?
Say if 3 people were talking about a moment when they were all starstruck and you stopped the conversation to talk about your starstruck moment and you don't have one. That's a bitch move and it was fun. Like
Well,
that's
for you, I mean,
exactly. It didn't hurt anybody. It didn't hurt anybody. It was a laugh. We all laughed and now we're
Interesting.
laughing about it.
Interesting.
But like if my friend, like let's say let's say I had a professional goal to work for Disney and somebody got the exact same job that I would love to get at Disney, I'm going to genuinely be happy for them. I really am. I don't fucking care. And I can't say that about a lot of people in real life. Like people will fucking shoot you with daggers in from their eyeballs to you just because like nothing situations. I can't really get into it.
Those
in
aren't
case
like
people are
the-
watching, but it's real.
Yeah,
But
I've never been, I can't relate to people like in our industry, Mike, like in the entertainment industry.
It
I've seen
happens.
people all the time. Give you an example. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Orlando Labo's been doing comedy 6-7 years. I've been doing comedy 18,
Yeah.
and he's gotten way more success as far as being on TV and being like he had his HBO special. And not for a minute, not for a second did I ever think like, oh fuck that, I should have been doing. Like I've never been. I've always been
I
super
never
happy about it.
expected but part of me wants what he has. There's
Oh,
some
no.
envy
There's a difference.
there.
There's no.
Like
don't
I'm
be
like,
saying that I
damn,
don't
that would
want
be
that.
awesome. Oh my god! But never at the expense
Of somebody
like
else's success or
disparaging.
happiness. Yes,
Yeah.
like you could want to get married,
I
but don't go to your
everything-
friend and be like, "I'm so jealous. You're getting married. It should be me." Like
everything that
that's
Orlando
weird.
has,
That's
HBO
concerning.
special, being on the Tonight Show, not having kids, everything Orlando has, I want for myself. But
Yeah.
I'm kidding, it's a joke. But I've never
He prefers
wanted it.
Netflix, not HBO.
But I've never wanted it and not been happy for it. I've never wanted it while not being happy for Orlando.
Right, like I don't want to take it from him. I would also like that.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
But
you
this
know.
lady is not that. This lady needs to talk this shit out, especially like just the delusion,
I think she just needs to start all over. Like just start all over.
Yeah,
Just-
like in
do-over.
life.
Do over.
yeah, just go and just be by start a new family, go somewhere else. Like it's just
Move to Amsterdam.
Create
just
a new
go
identity,
eat.
and you can pretend to be sane.
yeah, you ruined this one. You ruined this one. Go back and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just do that.
Wow, I don't.
Sometimes you just
Everyone
gotta
already
cut
knows
bait
you're that
and run.
toxic.
Yeah.
I didn't read this one, obviously. And
Your
and
face said it all.
I
Your
don't.
voice.
It's so concerning that
No.
people are like this, and I'm not saying like I'm not like I know that the right thing to do is be like I wish but I know that I'm a flawed, fucked up person, but I definitely don't begrudge anybody like the love of their lives or like like I would never do that, and I can't for the life of me understand where that shit comes from. And I don't correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you guys talked about it, like you, Mike and Neri, you talked about it on professionally as comedians, but I objectively see this way more from women than I do from men. Am I wrong?
What do you mean?
Like
Like
women
being
fucking
catty?
hate that other women are fucking happy, and I don't.
Oh no, I see
get it.
guys do that kind of shit all the time.
I
They do
see
it different.
guys.
That's
I
a
They
see
do it
human
guys.
different.
thing.
I see
Yeah.
guys do that. I
They
see
do it
guys do that on a-
differently, but they do it.
I see guys do it more on a professional level,
100%.
and women do it more on a personal level.
Mm.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah, I would
if
say.
if we are painting with broad brushes, and these are
Yeah.
very broad brushes,
Very
obviously,
broad brushes, yeah.
I would say that men are jealous of other guys professionally more so than personally. Like,
Well, those are the roles that have been defined for genders for
Right.
years. Is that for
Right. Yeah.
generations, the men are the professional and the women are the homemaking personal stuff. So, like the personal stuff has always been more reinforced. I mean, women weren't even allowed to have bank accounts up until when, like recent, like not enough time has
2
passed.
generations ago.
not in this
You know what
house.
I mean?
Not in this house. Dude, that
But-
much.
Stupid.
But
What
you know
do
what
the
I'm saying, like-
comments say?
The comments say, let me see here. Vanessa says, you can be a bitch for fun by putting a cupcake on someone's face in a picture.
Exactly.
That is,
That's
you were
fun.
being a bitch for fun.
That is my bride.
Yeah.
God bless. I love her, man.
Vanessa
She's the
fucking
greatest.
nailed it.
And then she says, not for realsies.
Vanessa in the comments always proves what a perfect match for you she is.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I've told them this. I've been like, listen, I don't know what happened, but you two motherfuckers have to stay together because there's literally nobody else on this planet for either one of you.
That's not true. That's not true. dude.
That's not as
I have
loving.
Jeff,
That's
I have Dave. I have Mike. There's plenty of people waiting for me to get single. That's fine.
I don't know that that's accurate.
To fuck you
Again?
again?
A full circle moment.
Yolanda says, I need to see this picture. You will, Yolanda. You
Oh
will.
yeah.
god.
It'll be
Send
up on
it
our
there.
it'll be up on our Instagram soon.
Oh my god.
Yolanda says, Missy, you are not flawed. You are genuine.
Oh, thank you. That's
You
not
know-
true,
Like a
but I
pony?
appreciate that.
You know what's funny? Like
Genuine like a pony?
genuine.
That's not how you. That's two different genuine, sir.
very different spelling.
I have a, you know, like that's an interesting thing, like talking about like if people are flawed. Do you think like what if you weren't flawed? Like could you, like, you know how when
I don't know about this. What if you speak
Be
about
terrifying.
no,
Mary's
no.
Like, what do you mean?
Oh man, you know how like comedians that they drink to be I gotta drink to be funny, or I gotta smoke, or I gotta do something to be funny, and then they're like, oh, I can't quit because then it'll change the dynamic of what makes me funny. Or like when a fat
Literally-
comic loses
literally
weight.
literally the reason why I never when I first year and 10 months of me doing stand-up, my hands would tremble
Yeah.
before getting on stage. Even as I'm on stage, my hands would tremble until I got the first laugh. And the reason why I never started drinking before to cut the edge was because I literally told myself, I don't want to take a shot of tequila, feel fine, and then feel from then on that I always have to take a shot of tequila before
Right,
going on.
you're setting that pressure on yourself
and
that
I
this
told
is
myself
what I
then,
have to be.
And then even worse if I did good. Like, what if I fucking take a shot of tequila and crush? Then I feel like I have to take a shot
Yes.
of tequila in order to crush. Like I told myself, don't
Like
do
a,
that.
like a lucky game shirt, but it's an addiction.
Like what
And then-
combination
so it
of
took me
things
a
do
year
I
and
have?
10
to be?
months. So I spent a year and 10 months of fucking like literally visibly trembling. It wasn't like they could see it from the fucking audience. My friends were like, dude, like, you were fucking trembling. And I was like,
But that's a very specific example.
Yeah.
And I have a thing that I struggle with. I don't want that to be me with my that's why like my negative things, my flaws, the traumas and all that stuff that happened to me, like and to a lesser extent, like the jokes that get played and where I'm the butt of a joke, you know, where I don't want to
Like
huh?
like one.
Like the picture, the cupcake porn star picture,
Yeah,
where
no,
it was
yeah.
like genuinely like a moment of me having a real reaction. But I don't ever want to hold on to some, or even like, look, my ex relationships and my past relationships where like I've like, that's a thing where like, I don't want to be the person that defines themselves by the stuff that they have to overcome rather than just like addressing that, oh, it's just a thing that happened. And because I feel like there's certain people that make their traumas their identity, and that's like a hard thing to shake off.
It's really hard to avoid sometimes.
Yeah, but I
get it.
mean-
I get it. I'm just saying that like it's funny to me. It's interesting, like because I was that way too, also, where I was like, one bad thing happens, guess what? I'm going to be thinking about it for decades, and it's going to bother me forever. But then like it's like curious to see where that pops up sometimes, even for myself. You know what I mean? Like especially like the comedy analogy of like, oh, so now that I've set this precedent, I have to do it because it's my safety blanket or something like that, you know? So like, I'm just curious: is that do you feel that like the bitchy mentality that you say, "Oh, bitch for fun," comes from a defensive place?
No, it comes from fun. Like I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I do
I
talk a
think
lot
so
about
much of our
wanting to look mean.
personalities.
I
Yeah,
do
but so
talk
much
a
of our
lot.
personalities are trauma responses, right? Like,
Right.
Well, there's not a
Some
safe
of it
space
is.
in here, so probably yeah, it is. But I mean,
But you called it, but it's not flawed. It's something that happened that you're like. I don't think it's a flaw. I think it's just becomes.
Well, it's kind of like what I said, weeks ago, months ago, about my wife sees my extreme sarcasm as a flaw, and I don't.
Hmm.
I don't see that as a flaw. Like I you know,
Fair.
we talked about like, would we date ourselves? And I find I have plenty of flaws to go around, but I don't find my extreme sarcasm to be one of those flaws. I don't find that at all to be flawed. Like I'm like, yeah.
You also think being pedantic is not a flaw. So
No,
He
false, incorrect.
does.
Oh,
Pedantic
okay.
is a flaw. Super sarcastic, not a flaw. Like I'm okay with because those two things are not mutually exclusive, and I'm fine with one, but the other one I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know was a thing. And I've thought I've been sarcastic for a long time, but pedantic is relatively new as far as my
A new
knowledge.
baby.
Where
My
you're
knowledge
like,
is-
how do you spell pedantic?
I literally did that. She was like, "You're so fucking pedantic," and I was like, "Yeah." Oh, fuck is pedantic? Why is she fucking calling me out, man?
Why did she nail it so hard? Damn it!
You guys want to see the picture?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Do we have
Are
consent?
you gonna share the picture?
Do
How
we
the
have
hell do you
consent
have
for
it like at the
He
ready?
has a favorite. He has it as a favorite, probably.
Actually, I don't. I know what I texted you, and I just went back into our conversation.
Are you kidding me? You've been doing this the whole fucking time.
The whole time, it just took me 30 seconds. It just
I
took me
remember
30
this
seconds.
photo.
Oh boy. See,
Wow.
he's being a bitch, but for fun.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, it was there. Like,
Share it
It
for
goes over the
real.
logo.
I am sharing it for you. What do you
Yes, it's
fucking
over
want me
the
to do?
logo.
Share
No.
the screen. Share the screen.
Oh,
Oh, you wanted like a big?
All right.
Oh.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
but if you're gonna fucking talk about it, talk about it.
You gonna fucking do it. Fucking do it, Neri. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe I need a cake pop.
There's a way to you add it as an overlay. Share it as put it up as an overlay, and it'll cover us up. But whatever.
God, now I'm thinking about this. Jesus, Mike.
Thinking about
Look how
what?
much of my personality is a trauma response.
Oh no, 100% of it is. There it is. She looks.
Could
like
you
fun.
not tell? Oh, I'm not grabbing her butt. Okay, that's good. Could
No,
you tell
that's a
that to
smaller
me?
bag.
Could you tell that to me?
If I know, because I know you,
If you
like
know
I
what it is.
know you.
Yeah, I think my girlfriend would know me.
Okay, first of all, why was your girlfriend following me? What the fuck? Second of all, like
you're a
doing
funny
nothing.
guy.
You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing wrong in this
No.
picture. There's absolutely nothing happening in this
Yeah,
picture.
your
for you to
hand's
be
not anywhere
ashamed of.
inappropriate.
There's
You're-
nothing inappropriate. This is
He's
I've
being
had this
friendly.
conversation.
Do you have the text messages there?
Yeah, of course. I this is a true story. I've had this conversation with multiple different comedians at multiple different times in my life, where after shows, especially like on cruise ships, after shows, comedians, you're kind of like, oh shit, I know you, and like people take a lot of pictures, a lot more so than they would at the improv, right?
Right,
When I do a
right,
show at the improv, there's maybe 5 or 6 people that take a picture with me after the show, while I'm selling merch, and when I'm on a cruise ship, it's honestly like 50 or 60 after each show. Right, so there's a lot more people, and there's a lot of them are women, and I would put my hands over them, and then put my hands on their shoulders or their waist and take pictures. Right, that's what I did with everybody. With dudes, I'll put my hand over them and be like, "Hey, look at this." That it doesn't fucking matter to me.
Mhm.
And I've had multiple comics tell me, "You putting all your hands on these women and you're taking these pictures. What if they post it?" And I'm like, "What? I don't. Okay, what if they post it? That's
You're
fine."
not like off partying with these.
That's
Like it's
what I'm
not.
saying. But it's not like, and that's what I've told every comedian. I'm like, oh shit, did I fuck her? And I don't remember. Like, did I fuck her on? Did they take a picture of me while I was fucking her? And they were like, no. I'm like, well,
Was this us
and
rolling
their whole
out
thing-
after
and
bed?
you see these guys, and you see these grown ass men. Because I don't know if now, because now I'm 39, but when I started doing stand up on these cruise ships 5 years ago, I was by far and away the youngest comedian on the roster. By far and away, like easily 10 years. The next guy was probably in their 40s, and I was literally like 34. And I would just grown ass men taking pictures with fucking women and doing like just like with their hands behind their back, grabbing their back. No, the hands behind their back and like leaning close to the lady, but not. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, I don't understand that concept, and that was always my thing. So you having this conversation with me, like, oh, don't post that picture. I'm like, what are you? You're doing nothing wrong. You're not fucking her. You done nothing wrong. This isn't even an ex.
I don't even think, but I don't think it's about the picture. It's the underlying issues in the circumstance.
There was a underlying.
So that's and
I think I'm remembering now more, and that's absolutely what it was.
Yeah, because I in my previous relationship I would get pissed at pictures, but like there was already like years of triggers.
Yeah.
And now like. Yeah, so there was like something else going on. It wasn't the picture. I don't think that I would jump in a relationship now and like get pissed at a picture like that, because if there's nothing to worry about, then there's nothing to worry about. But if
the trust is already on thin ice, the last thing you want is something going on.
Ah!
Oh,
she did it! Kill him.
All right, give me. I'll be right back. Hold on.
So
anyway,
so the point,
this is
the point of
normal.
it. Okay, so I think if I remember correctly, because again the dates are a little different. This my girlfriend at the time was studying abroad.
Oh,
so
Okay.
there had already been.
It was a spacebar broad. Like
No. Hey, it was dating his broad,
was a dame.
and she was abroad. You know what I'm saying?
It was a toots.
Yeah, and she and there was already like touchiness about everything, and it was weird, and seeing social media posts that I was unhappy with, and then then I would immediately lose the high ground of my argument of like, you don't see me posting pictures like this on Insta, and it's the truth of it was like it was just that event, and then that's what Neri was like harping on about. If I'm remembering correctly, it feels right.
That sounds like Neri.
It feels right.
If we're talking about brands, I feel like you're on something.
Because I feel like Neri would have been. I feel like Neri would have not. It's not about the picture, and Neri, knowing what he knows about my situation, would have picked at that. Like he would have been a bitch for fun.
Yeah, it would be like an insecurity. Let's have fun with this.
He's like, oh, a weakness. Let me attack it with my giant.
Until you laugh. I don't care if you cry first. I'm gonna make you laugh.
But it was, like, but I'm not mad about it now. You could post a picture of now. I'm not dating that girl anymore. But in that moment, it would have been out the shitstorm that it would have caused, and it would have made me look like a hypocrite. Which genuinely, you
didn't want to lose the higher ground.
Yes.
You didn't want to lose the higher ground.
I didn't want to lose the higher ground.
Now when you're winning the argument, I mean, why would you give that shit up?
Yeah, of course not. What are you, crazy?
I have the higher ground.
Yeah,
I get that.
But it was also like my shit that what I was reacting to was real, and the last thing I wanted her to have was a defense where it was like, see, and I'm like, but then I have to be like, oh, but it's nothing. It was jokes with my friends, and then she could turn around and say the same thing. Meanwhile, I knew the truth. That
you're trying to avoid giving her ammo, and like, it's a whole thing. But see, that's like already a sign of relationship being kind of fucked, right?
Oh yeah. It was, it was doomed from a certain perspective. Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that I know of a situation nowhere attached to the podcast in any way, shape, or form. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. But a situation where somebody is with somebody else that was previously cheated on, and now the somebody else that had nothing to do with that is like doing reparations basically for the harm that somebody else did. And I'm a big believer in that, like.
You mean like taking it out on the next guy?
Yeah, like I don't like you being friends with that girl, or I don't like you hanging out with so and so, and then that person's like, oh, well, that happened to me a bunch. It makes her uncomfortable, so I'm gonna fall back a little. I don't get that. I don't support that. I think that I
think it depends sometimes too. Like maybe not in that situation because you're controlling who someone's friends with. Like it's weird. But you decide what luggage you're willing to carry from a previous relationship sometimes.
And like assign the responsibility like accordingly. Like if you didn't cheat on me, I'm not like, that's not your bag. I have to deal with that. Well, but
I mean, Dave's never had an issue with drinking or anything like that, but because of the fact that I was with an alcoholic and stuff like that, there's times where he has to remember that I have a trigger where I don't like being with the drunkest person in the room. I don't like it. I'm not a huge fan. So for him, he knows that if he's starting to get tipsier than other people, he's like, time to eat some bread. Time to go back.
Well, I
and
think
not
that's
be the
also like,
most.
but that's also common courtesy to the person you're with. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got their stuff. I've
But
always
some people wouldn't be
said-
about that. Some people would be like, "Oh, but I'm not that person, so fuck that."
but that's also a sign of a mismatch in a relationship.
True.
My thing is, but
Do we
come
have
on, yes, come on, Vanessa.
Hi.
Yeah,
Right.
Doesn't she look so great?
you look fantastic. You're
do.
She's glowing.
navigating babies on the boobies, all that stuff again.
Oh my god. So
Yeah.
many on boobies.
How is the baby? First of all,
She's great.
she's great. She's very sweet. How are you?
I'm doing great. I
Do you
only have 3.5 weeks left of maternity leave. I'm so sad.
Really?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah, my boss was
already.
My boss was
How long is
expecting me
maternity
back at
leave
6 weeks. I got 3 months. I took my whole time. Oh,
And
my-
the dogs. We got the dogs.
Look
Yes.
at the doggies.
The whole Science clan. Get
yeah,
in the room.
everybody's here today. No, I took my whole 3 months, but my boss was like, "So you'll be back in 6 weeks, right?" I was like,
No.
No.
"I will
I
take my whole
don't
3 months
fucking
paid."
get. I don't get it. I don't
don't
get the expectation of women being back in the office like 6 weeks after birth. Like,
I mean,
bro,
how much
our-
time do you
we're
have?
still bleeding.
I have a friend who went back to work 3 weeks after her daughter was born, and her daughter had a heart condition.
No.
Like her
What?
newborn, her newborn had to have open heart surgery, and she went back to work after.
Look, Vanessa, you have fans.
Hey, we can bring comments up.
Yeah.
What?
Look
I
at-
didn't know that.
Look
I
at
don't know
that.
how to do that.
He
Oh
That's
yeah.
Vanessa. He
He
passed up. He did, and
It's
as
so
a
bad.
as a spectator, I get to laugh
know
at
how
these
to do it.
things, and it's hilarious.
So you know how when you tell time, you're like, oh, it's 2:09, but you'll like round up to like 2:10 or 2:15 or whatever just to make your
Oh,
life easier.
no.
We have an Alexa with a screen in the living room, and Sophie will be like, "Mommy, what time is it?" I'm like, "Oh, it's 2:15," and she'll look at it. She goes, "No, mommy, it's 2:09."
Well, one
I mean,
time,
The rounding there's a little off. You're supposed to
Well,
210, maybe.
yes.
What?
Even if it's off by a minute, she's
but
like,
there was
"No,
one. There was
no,
one
no,
time.
Mom."
Yeah,
This is
there
why
was
I
one
asked. This is
time
why
when
I asked
I was on the couch.
Elbow drop a kid.
I was on the couch when that exact scenario happened, and before Sophie could say anything, Neri under his breath was like, "Actually, it's 2:09," and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like it was, and then immediately after, Sophie's like, "No, it's not," and I'm like, it's you."
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
bad.
What? So we know that the kids are have a lot of the Neri genes. What do they have of yours? Like, because they look like they have strong Neri
They have
appearances.
strong
Yeah.
Neri, everything. Oliver's a troll like Neri. Sophie's
Mm.
pedantic like Neri.
What do they have of yours?
What if
My
Lucy
kids
comes out
don't.
the funny one?
Oliver's pretty funny. I mean,
Yeah.
with his trolling, the other day I posted about him like, he came up to me, he's like, "Mommy, can I give the baby a kiss?" And I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, go ahead, kiss her." And I'm like, "What about me? Can I have a kiss?" And he goes, "No, mommy, you're old."
He's such a dick.
That hurts my feelings.
You're like, I didn't know this was a defining like.
Wow.
Yeah, like he saw my face and he was like, "You're old."
You tried to backpedal.
Too late.
You're like,
sir.
her kiss is
You
only
already
for
messed
babies.
it up.
Damn.
Didn't
What was the
you-
requirement?
Yeah, like
This
what?
is the requirement
what's
because you're a
the
baby
requirement?
because you won't kiss anybody that's not a baby.
Does he believe in cooties? Is he anti-girl?
No.
Well, if you ask him, like, there's a little girl in his class named Sophia. So I'm like, "Oh, is that your friend Sophia?" And he gets all embarrassed when I talk about her. So I'm like, maybe.
All right, I have to ask. Do you do the super weird thing about like coupling off kids?
No.
It's
no.
so gross. I hate when
so
people do this thing like, "Oh, is that your little girlfriend?" It's like, shut the fuck up. They're children.
No.
they're
Ugh.
drinking their apple juice.
Ugh, that's so
Well,
weird
I
that
know.
you are thinking that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I don't do that.
Ugh.
I don't like that.
No, he
I
just
hate
thinks like order Sophie hot dogs at
Mhm.
the restaurant when he
Order hot
knows
dogs
that
and fruit.
Sophia hates hot dogs.
Mhm.
And like does it to the waitress. Like the waitress.
Yeah, he'll
will
ask
go,
the waitress for a hot dog.
"My sister wants a hot dog," and Sophie's like, "No, I don't."
Boom. Nail. He's already got it. He's already got the big
He's a
the
troll.
the brother sibling rivalry action going on.
Mhm.
It's a fun house.
Oh.
So what if Lucy comes out the one like
no,
the most like
a-
you?
not that kind of fun house.
Hopefully, I'm
Fun
hoping
house.
she'll be my lefty.
Yeah.
This one's my lefty. She'll get that from me.
I think Lucy looks a lot more like you.
Yes.
She has Neri's, cheeks, but she's all of this is you.
That's funny.
Anyway, speaking of which,
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Missy
You
far
both
less
do it.
excited.
Did
Like,
you
oh,
just
that
see
guy's
that?
back.
They
What?
both do the.
yep.
They both do the
danger,
flinch.
danger. Oh no. that creeped me out a little. What's gonna happen later?
Oh no.
Beware.
Anyway.
There. So we got to go. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for checking out the What's Up podcast. Check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network, including but not limited to, but let me tell you, the Mon Geek More podcast, which just released a new episode out recently. So make sure you check that out. We talked about zombie movies. Make sure you check out A Dose of Ellie. Make sure you check out Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez. Go to geekbro.net. Check that out. And as you can tell by looking at your screen, we have a Cash App, which is $WuBroPod. If you want to donate to the show, it'd be great. If you don't, I completely understand. You don't have to, but please do. And we have a Patreon. So if you want to do a Patreon, we do extra added bonus material after each episode or after some episodes. Make sure you check that out. Rookie is our first Patreon. So thank you, Rookie, for that. Shout out to you, Rookie. And if you want to be a bro or a brosif or a professor, make sure to go to patreon.com/WuBroPod. Thank you very much. Make sure you check out Missy's writing at missywrites.com.
No, not the website, but the Instagram. Sure, my website's down for now, but I'll let you know when it goes back up.
So
all the socials are up here.
All the socials are on the screen. If you're listening to this audio version, which most of you do because we still have a larger audience than the just audio version, make sure you check out YouTube or Facebook, and the videos are still there, even though they're not live and you can't really interact with us anymore. Obviously, you can still watch the video version of it. So thank you guys for checking us out, and that's how winning is done.
It's still live.